To start with, yeah, so let us see what are object methods. In earlier classes, if you remember, we have discussed more of methods of primitives, methods of array also. Yeah, but we have not that much, or we didn't get a chance to discuss object methods. So here we're going to have that discussion. Now, from the basics of JavaScript object, so you know that we so we have a way to create an object in JavaScript. So one is a literal syntax. The other was actually using a constructor. So constructors basically in JavaScript they are functions. So we use a new keyword and then the name of the function to create an object. Okay, you see, as soon as I invoke this, this is going to create an object. But this is the same case even if let's say I write a function test. Okay, so now there is nothing in this function. I use a new keyword. Again, I call test. That also creates an object which is of type test. Yeah. So yeah, this is one of the function I should say. Yeah, not a method. But then on this object, we have a lot of methods defined actually. Lot of methods defined, but not directly on this object itself. Yeah. So it is defined on what is called as the object's prototype. See, we have got a method like constructor will just, it's a property, has own property is a method, is prototype is a method, toString is a method, toLocalString is also a method. But today we are not discussing these methods. So instead we are discussing methods which are directly invoked on this object. So you can think of like static methods. Example, yeah, Object.create, Object.assign, Object.group by, some new method which is there. Object.ease is also an interesting method. Object.keys, values, yeah. Object.length, yes. So it's a property, yeah. So objects don't have too many properties. I mean, directly the static methods, they don't have, we don't have interesting properties to see, but it would be, it would be the methods that we need to see. All right. So we know how to create an object. So once you create an object, you also know that in the previous classes we discussed about this method called Object.assign. Can you tell me what is this Object.assign? What is the purpose of it? Why did we use this?
So we can copy that object to another object by providing the target.
Copying
So
an object?
yes,
Yeah.
sir, yeah.
So this, yeah. So the syntax says for the assign, you see, you have like multiple syntax. One is you can, I mean, the first parameter is a target, and the last parameter is source. It can be, sources, or it can be, multiple sources like source 1, source 2, source 3, and so on. Now, yes, we have already discussed this. This is to create a new object. Yeah, create a new object or copying a new object actually. Correct? We said it is not possible. Okay, so I create a new object obj and then I assign it to, uh, you know, assign some properties and then, yeah, remember while we said it is possible to, with the simple assignment like person is equal to obj, this doesn't do a copy. And in that case, yeah, we discussed this method called Object.assign, wherein now, if I want to create a totally new object from a reference object, then we go for what is called as Object.assign. And we have already seen that. Okay, already seen what is each of this method and why it is. I'm just trying to do a bit of recall. And here we got to get this new object. Yeah, test is not defined. Sorry, obj. I should have mentioned obj here. So it's not test. So now you see, I got person, which has the same property as what is there in obj. Yeah, person and obj got the same property, but they are not equal. Objects are equal if and only if their references are same. Okay, so I have, I think, done detailed explained like, okay, different, the syntaxes also. All these three syntax I've explained already. So that's why I will not reiterate the same. Yeah, but this is an example to understand why did we use it. Object.create, any idea? We also have discussed a short or a bit about this.
Yes, sir. It is also one type of cloning method. Basically, we can create from an existing ones, like what we do for object data.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But this is bit different from assign. This bit different from assign. In case of assign, we created a copy of an object, copy of one object into other. But in case of create, okay, we don't create a copy of that object. Instead, we create, yeah, a new object by passing in some existing object. Yeah, I create a new obj by passing in an existing obj. So what? So this new object, whatever I'm creating, okay, imagine this is a new object, yeah, and obj which already exists with certain properties. Now this, it creates totally a new object. This is new obj. But then, yeah, the interesting thing is from this new object, yeah, you created new object from this obj. This is a obj. Okay, this is how it looks like. Obj is created when using this. But more than creating, it also establish a prototype chain. What is it? It establishes a prototype chain between this obj and new obj. What is the meaning of that? So this new obj will not have its own name property. New obj will not have isAdmin property. That's why I've written an empty object. It creates a totally an empty object. But then, okay, every object will have, yeah, one one internal property called as underscore proto. What is it? Every object in JavaScript will have an internal property called underscore proto. And this proto will actually hold the reference of this object, obj. Yeah, this new object will have an hidden property called underscore proto that will actually hold the reference of this obj. And this is called as kind of prototype chain. Now, what exactly the benefit of this? Okay, so this is actually called as inheritance in JavaScript. What it is called as inherit in JavaScript. Okay, so we have an existing object called obj. Fine. Now I'm creating a new obj using Object.create and then obj. Yeah. Is it an empty object which got created now? As I showed you here, it's totally an empty object. But then what I'm saying? On top of that empty object, we also have established a prototype chain. Now what is that prototype chain? You see, this is that hidden property I was saying. It's it's underscore underscore proto. This is how it is printed. I'll show you. This is we can access, and this points to this object which we gave in the reference, which means new obj dot underscore underscore proto is equal to this obj which we used. See now it is objects are equal, which means what? This proto has a reference of this object from which we created this new object. Yeah, this I said this is an inheritance chain. This is also called as prototype chain, but inheritance. Why you call it inheritance? Now you see this new obj is an empty object. You don't see any property. But what if I access name? You see, I'm able to access test. Where is the test? It is in this object. Yeah. Again, if can I access his admin? Yes, he can access his admin. Do you see what happened now? Yeah. So with the help of this, though we created an new object, yeah, this is also a syntax to create an object. Now people might ask you what are the different ways to create objects in JavaScript. Yeah, including literal syntax, we have got 4 different methods to create objects. You know what I'm saying? Including the literal syntax that we are aware. There are okay, again 3 more ways. You can think of 3 plus 1. 4 ways I've told you how to create objects, using JavaScript. Okay, is this clear? The reference object and creating a prototype object.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on. So next we have set of methods which are related to accessing the keys, accessing the values. These are very easy ones. Now let's say we have already an object called uh, obj, correct? Now what if I just want only keys from this? What if I just want to access only keys? So there's a method Object.keys, yeah, of you give the target object, then I would be able to, sorry, misspelled it, keys, you will be able to get, yeah, only the keys. Key or property. We also call it as property, correct? So the other name is key. So using keys, you can get, you know, all the keys without values. Yes, there is an equivalent method to even get a values, which is object.values. Object.values of object, if you see, then we use this method. Okay, so we have got keys and we have got values. You might be thinking like, what is the use of this? When do I use? What is the use case of having keys and values? Well, the common use case is, these objects, yeah, they don't have many methods actually. As we are seeing, we just saw mostly syntax of creating objects. Other than that, we don't have methods like array. We have got for each, filter, map, reduce, yeah, find, find index. So objects don't have methods. And many a times, yeah, we'll have to rely on array methods actually for doing some filtering. For example, I want to do filter, I want to update, yeah, I want to extract something, I want to display. For example, I want to display all the properties of an object. So then we go for this method called Object.keys, and the return value is an array. And that array we can actually do some, you see the return, and I can chain. I can use a chaining if you remember. Now the return value is an array, so I can use whatever method I want. I can for each, I can write a for each and say each of the key, yeah, or each of the value. So you can write whatever you want. And then let's say I just want to only print for now. And then we print the value. So this is a use case. yeah, to convert things into arrays. Just a second. Okay, so I'm just telling you the use case of this. Use case of why do we use or what is the benefit. You might be having only objects, but then, yeah, if at all you need array methods. Now this is what is both keys and values. Now there is another method which is a combination of both keys and values, and this method is called entries. Not keys, not values, but it is instead both. So entries. See what is the return value it is giving? It is giving me, you know, an array with both key and value. Key and value. So nested array, correct? So rather than just holding key or a value, here this array will give you both the key and value. Again, whenever we want to iterate through each of the property, or whenever you want to make use of some of the array methods, then we will go for this method. Yeah. So all in all, objects have got very less methods. Unlike array methods is exhaustive list. Okay, array methods are exhaustive list, but objects have very few methods, and in that I think these are the important ones. Yeah. So for sure we use object.assign. Yeah, heavily, and then keys, values, entries are these are the very commonly used methods. Create, yeah, is a bit less, but then again, that's what it does. Okay, with that, let's understand a few more advanced methods. So there is a method called Object.ease, and there's a method called Object.seal, Object.freeze. Yeah, so let's see quickly, okay, what is Object.ease method does. So syntax wise, you see it takes two values, value 1, value 2. Now what is this method is doing? This is checking whether they are equal or not. That's all it is doing. It is an equality checking method. Equality check of two primitive values. You cannot compare two objects are same or not. Yeah, I think no, that also works. Yeah, but then we kind of use this, yeah, for an alternative to double equals to and triple equals to. And then there is a difference. Yeah, so this method is almost same as this triple equals to. This method is almost same as triple equals to, but then there is a small difference actually. So now let's see what is, if I go to mdn object.ease, they would have given, okay, how this syntax and where it is different actually. So this method differs in way we compare, you know, a negative value and a positive value. What it means? So let's say I have plus 0 and I say is equal to minus 0. So can you guess what is the output we are going to get? Or plus 1 is equal to minus 1. Yeah, plus 1 is not equal to minus 1. Whereas plus 0, yeah, that is expected, right? Plus, what about 0? What about minus 0? Okay,
Yeah, you
so
addition.
this is where it gives a different result actually. And what about NaN? If you remember, we said we cannot compare NaN with NaN with NaN. Not a number, yeah, is equal to not a number, says false. This is how the triple equals to comparison works. Basically, specifically for 0, I thought it is for other numbers. No, purely for 0, when you have plus and minus, the triple equals to works like this. But then the object dot is works differently. So you say plus 0 and minus 0, they say they are different. But triple equals to says it is true. Object.is, when I compare NaN, comma NaN, it says true. Whereas with triple equals to, it says false. And this is the same reason we sometimes use this method called isNaN. Correct? There's a method called isNaN which is defined on the number. Yeah, so that also can be used. But yeah, this is what is this method called Object.is. Yeah, basically compares two values and is almost same as triple equals to, yeah, to compare a value. And here we have a big list to say when two values are same. So they have a list actually. I think it's good to remember this list. When both the values are undefined, when both the values are null, both true or both false. Yeah. So they're giving equality. What all? So both plus 0 or both minus 0. Both NaN, we saw it. So in summary, whatever I just told you, that is the thing. Yeah. Plus 0, minus 0, NaN and comparison using this method will become, in one case it becomes true, in the other case it is false. Yeah. Okay. So next we have got a method called Object.seal. Forget this thing. So what is the literal meaning of seal in English? Yeah,
Close.
close, right? So which means close. Closing what? Yeah, sometimes we use that. Sometimes we say even to join also. Yeah. So joining, closing. Yeah. Okay. So now this method, yeah, are the same thing. So this particular method, yeah, so has a fixed set of property once the object is sealed. Once object is sealed, so new properties cannot be added and existing properties cannot be removed. Yeah. So basically, when and also saying enumerability and configurability also cannot be changed. Its prototype cannot be reassigned. Values of existing properties can be still changed as long as they are writable. So in simple words, it says you cannot add, you cannot delete, yeah, but you can update the values. Getting it? So you're sealing the object from modification, adding, and removing also. So once sealed, over. Election is over, they are putting a seal. Correct? No more change is possible. Simple. But here, property values can be updated. Yeah. So what it means? It means I sealed an object. So let's seal an object. Object.seal. Now if I say obj, then this will return me a sealed object. Yeah. Does it return a new object? Let's see the syntax. Yes. The object being sealed. Yes. It returns that object. Which means what? I have to store, yeah, sealed. Okay. Object into some reference now. Is sealed same as obj? Answer is false. Oh, both the references are also same. Okay. This is interesting. But the thing is, so let's say it's sealed dot name is equal to, ABC. I can change it. I mean, I can add it. But then let's say sealed dot XYZ. I'm just trying to add some dummy property. Okay. So let's see if this is possible. See, it doesn't throw an error, but you see, it didn't add it actually. Do you see sealed has this XYZ dummy? Answer is no. Can I remove it? Can I remove a property? Delete sealed dot name. Okay, it says false, which means not deleted. Okay, this is what is sealed. Seal, huh? The seal object. Now, similar to seal, there is a very close method which is called as freeze. What's the method name? Freeze. Okay, so this, yeah, basically freezes an object, which means a frozen object can no longer be changed. New properties also cannot be added. Existing properties cannot be removed. Yeah, their enumerability, configurability, writability, or even the value cannot be changed. Yeah. So in case of freeze, okay, it is to the extreme, yeah, extreme of sealing. So in seal, we saw that we were able to update the value. See, like we updated the value to ABC. But if you freeze it, then they're saying the extra thing you're going to get is even these values also you cannot modify. Yeah. So it is almost same as, it's similar to sealed object, and then values also can't be changed. Getting? This is a difference. Yeah. Okay. Now I see there is one more method which is there. I think which makes sense. Let me talk about what is called as object from entries. Yeah. I think this would be the last method. Uh, Now the method name is object.from entries. So what is the purpose of this method? Let me show you. So this method is basically used to create an object. What is it? This method is used to create an object. But how? So let's say you said object dot properties, sorry, object dot entries of obj. What you got? You got an array. But now what if after the array operation, I want to convert this back to an object? The reverse. Getting what I'm saying? So for that purpose, okay, now I'll just chain the method here only. Yeah, I'll say object dot from entries, and then object dot entries. You see what happens now? So earlier from the entries we got arrays, nested array. For each one property you will see one array. Yeah. So corresponding to the key and value. The from entries does the reverse. Basically it creates an object. Yeah. And you can see a created object. Maybe I think I'll have to list it under this, the creating an object. Yeah. Okay, let me put it under. Again, this is also another syntax to create an object. All right. So these are the, I think, methods. Yeah. We have very few, but I think the mostly interesting ones are, yeah, these two, the keys and values plus the object data sign. Moving on, I think there is also a method which is called as group by, which they say it newly added actually. So let me show you quickly some examples what this group by does. I came across this method when I was going through this, but didn't see, you see it's a 2024, newly available. In terms of syntax, basically it is to group the elements based on the callback. So you pass items. Items is like kind of an array. Yeah. So we pass the input, which is an array, and you will have a callback function. Now that callback function is going to get element and index from that item, but then the return value will be you know return value will be a grouped object actually. So let's say I have an inventory list like this, and I call group by on this, you know. So let's say object dot group by. Yeah, I call object dot group by, and then we put items, and then items is okay. I think I did create items. So let me for now I'll write a callback function. Yeah. So in this callback function, I say item. I would like to group them by item dot name. Yeah. So this is how I'm writing this group by. Right now I have not added items, but let me create items. I think I've copied already. Yeah. So the inventory is nothing but I'll rename it as items. Now this inventory or items. Now if I would like to group, yeah. So let's group by type actually. Yeah, instead of the name. So let's group by type. So imagine you want to group these items by type. Then you say items. Those are the items to group, and based on the key called item.type. So now wherever it finds the unique value type, yeah, it is going to group, yeah, each of these entries, yeah, each of these array items into a group. Now the return value is an object. Observe, the return value is an object, and object will have the keys fruit, meat, then vegetables. You see, with the unique keys fruit, meat, vegetables. And then under the fruit, now whatever entries are fruit, whatever entries are meat, whatever entries are vegetables. This is a group by. Okay. So in SQL we have a group by. Similar to that, we have a method in JavaScript. Yeah, let's say you got an array of items and you want to group them.